or International Association of Facilitators. Since 2018, I've started a book series on architecting collaboration, and my latest book, in co-authorship with other renowned digital facilitators and guest co-authors, is titled Beyond Virtual Meetings.
Along with my co-author Martin Duffy and esteemed PhD colleague, we host Talk to Your Meeting Daughter, a series of hosted conversations with meeting experts that can advise you about how to transition to this new normal and take advantage of this incredible once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make the organization of your meetings more sustainable. Please stand by as the next show will start momentarily.
So let's just go for the conversation, Paul. If you want to act as facilitator, and I'll just narrate some of the content that we've just talked through.
Yes,
and I suppose you can introduce it as we're just having a reflection on the last 2 years of fireside chats.
Absolutely. And I think we need to apologize our dear viewers that are upset as we are not turning our video on right now today. But we have just this wonderful conversation, the two of us, on reflections and retrospects on 2022, right, Martin?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, what a two years where we spanned COVID, in lockdown, out of lockdown, the transitions. So I suppose we've had an interesting 2 years on which to think back, to reflect a little bit, and then I suppose to consider where our fireside chat conversations might take us into the future.
Absolutely. And it's so wonderful to be here on 2023. Happy New Year, everybody. It's good to be back, all of you here in January. This month in the Northern Hemisphere, right? In this month of winter and retirement and going to the fireplace and getting your reflections. It's good to be here with you, Martin, and tell me something. We have come across some conclusions, and I would start to ask you, what is it that we don't do on the topic? Not as fireside conversations, Martin.
Yeah, that's a good point, because actually what I kind of, on reflection, Paul, what I found really interesting was very often before our fireside chats, we might get a very quick email from somebody saying, oh, I'm not certain what to expect. Can you give me any sense of what we might do or what we'll talk about? And I used to always start by telling people what we didn't do. And things that we didn't do, we didn't prepare. We didn't have pre-scripted questions. We didn't do detailed background checks or research on our guest speakers or their companies or their products. And that always invited them to ask, okay, so what do we do? What is it that makes the fireside chat format that we developed? What makes it unique? And I normally like to say to them that actually our whole passion is about having interesting conversations with interesting people about interesting topics. And I'd normally follow that up with them by saying, it's about the conversation. It's about where you as the guest bring the conversation. And the reason that not having all the detailed preparation serves us so well is that the conversation then has to go where the participants want to bring it, not where you or I as the hosts try to bring it. So we get into a form of dialogue, the idea of building kind of a detailed, empathetic engagement with our participants. And the other thing I think on reflection, and I think this certainly came out of almost, if not all, episodes, was we always found something very surprising. We always came across some contribution from our participants that we hadn't anticipated, we hadn't planned, but it arrived. And for me, that's the real benefit for you and I, for our guests, and then I hope for our listeners, that people get to hear genuine conversation from world leaders, experts in their particular fields, but it's coming from a place of genuine interaction rather than some form of pre-scripted or pre-rehearsed contribution from anybody. I think that's really for me what makes the format that we've adopted so unique.
Absolutely, Martin, and it was great to have this conversation with you, and I'm so glad that finally we decided to share a little bit of what we talked about, and definitely we would like to do some changes in 2023, dear viewers, and that's probably for you to recommend and propose industry leaders that we like to have in our programs. So that's the novelty, right, Martin?
Yeah, that's and I suppose again, when we reflected back, Paul, on 2021, 2022, we started off each year with a very broad thematic approach to our conversations. And in 2021, you might recall, we looked at mixing individually focused conversations with organizationally focused conversations. In 2022, we shifted from having individual conversations with participants to having collective group conversations, always with very small groups. Once or twice, we introduced the mystery guest, where one of our guests was actually waiting and observing for the first half, and then joined us for the second half to just give a reflective idea on what they had heard. So we were thinking that perhaps for 2023, it could be useful to have a broad theme where we might say every episode would have the title, Imagine a Different Future About ... So the topic then for every conversation, and now it could be about anything, but it potentially could be informed by our guests. So in other words, our guests could suggest topics that they would actually like to talk about in this particular format that we're suggesting. So we're not doing pre-preparation, we're not doing pre-scripting, we're not doing pre-questions, we're not doing pre-sales pitches. We are doing genuine, interesting conversations with interesting people about interesting topics.
I love that summary, Martin. And it was really, really great to be here with all of you guys today. Apologize for the ones who were waiting for the schedule to be fulfilled on time. Unfortunately, things don't happen exactly as planned, but that's part of life. We are doing this recording just for you, and it's going to be live in the next couple of days. So please stand by. Anything else, Martin, for our viewers on your side?
I think that's it. I hope our very quick review of ourselves, really, Paul, isn't it? You know, we kind of just stepped back a little bit and we said, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? How are we doing it? And how might we consider doing it into the future? And I suppose if people would like to join us on that basis, we're very happy to continue having interesting conversations with interesting people about interesting topics.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let me please share one important conclusion. And I'm so pleased to have reached this conclusion, as we don't want advertisers coming to us, right? So please stand back. We are not in this process to make any source of revenue with advertising whatsoever. We're doing this for pure pleasure. Yeah. And that's what keeps us enjoying doing what we do right now, right, Martin?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agreed. 100%, Paul. Yeah.
And this is a lovely conversation, because there's more in life than making money. And fortunately, this is not in any way a revenue stream for us, but it's just also a way to make the world a little bit different, right? It's a small contribution to making the world a little bit different, and bringing humanity to social media, because now you are interacting each other on LinkedIn and all the social media channels where you and our guest speakers appear, and there are human beings beyond social networks, right? People like you and me.
I suppose we're hoping to we're fostering the art of conversation through social media.
Correct. That's the plan. And wishing everybody a successful 2023. Please stand by, stay with us, and next month, February, we're going to host the first episode. After this one will be the 0, right? So or the second episode, 23.
Super.
Bye for now.
Bye, folks. Thanks a million.
Thanks for watching us.